Hi Floss Tube friends, I'm Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher here on YouTube, also on Instagram, and we have coloradocrossstitcher.com. And this is Oliver, and I just brought him in the video today because he hasn't said hi lately. And for all of you guys who ask me how he's doing, I thought he might want to be in the video today, just at the beginning. Oliver has been looking out the back window onto our back deck lately at night, and I don't know if he's seeing little ghosties or if he's imagining that he's seeing things, but he will spend 2 hours looking out the window, whipping his tail, running back and forth. So I think we need a Ring camera back there to see what the heck is going on, right? I'm just going to hold him for a few minutes. This is my channel about my own personal cross stitching, and I think it's been a month since I was with you. I'm trying to do the end of the month for my floss tubes, and as always, I don't think I have enough to show, and then I gather it all and I think, oh my gosh, this is too much to show. So I have a lot of finishes. I have one of my oldest whips ever I finished, so I can't wait to show you that. It's from the 1980s. And okay, are you done? Too much talking? All right. And I also have another old whip kit that I want to do from 1988, and I'll tell you why I know that later. First of all, Book of Days, which you know I fill out every month. So let's look at September. This is my September. I think I already showed you I would have already showed you my August. I also worked on, I have extra pages back here, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. I also worked on my summer school page and my Bristol page, which I may have shown you in my visit to Tanya, the Scarlet House's house, which was amazing. So those are fun things that I put into my Book of Days. It's like a little yearbook of my creativity, I guess, which I love looking back on. So also when I'm trying to figure out what fabric I used, because I show something and I forget to tell you what it is and you guys ask, I can look it up in here. A couple things from the last video. I showed you my little stitching box and the little problem with the stitching box where the corners wore off. I fixed it, but I'm going to take it apart because I don't like it. But I wanted to show you in the middle of the fixing. So I ordered leather straps, leather cording, I think it was called, and put that on. But you know how I like to glue on my trims with Aleene's tacky glue because it dries clear and you can't see it. And so I wasn't concerned about being careful gluing this on because it dries clear. Well, no, not on leather. I don't know if that comes through and you can see that, but you can see where all the glue is on there. So I'm gonna have to take it off and do it again. I still think I'll do it with the leather because it covers, this is actually I think I did 3 different layers, top, middle, and bottom. And it covers well, and I think it will stay on well, and it'll wear well, but I'm gonna have to be super careful about my gluing the next time. And so I haven't been using this case. And remember, I bought a case to do a Halloween box and a Christmas box, so I'm gonna have to get on it. But just in case you didn't see my last video, here's the inside of the little travel box. All right, last time I also showed you 2 things that were done but not fully finished, so I'm going to start with those. This is a little pin keep that we got at, I guess, summer school. And Tanya, the Scarlet House, designed this and gave us the little tin tart pan. And so I had finished that the last time, now I've fully finished that, which made me realize I also have this tart pan, and this came from Hobby Lobby I think a year ago, and I thought this one would be a fun one to do with some kind of a Christmas round. So now that I've done a tart pan, I need to think about what I'm going to do with that. And then I also showed you this little kit that I made from Satsuma Street, which we have in the shop, and I had finished the stitching, but now I fully finished, which just means cutting a piece of felted wool for the back, and I braided some of the leftover threads to make a hanger. And the fun thing about Satsuma Street kits is it's not as much beading as Mill Hill. I like to do beading, but it's more stitching, and you've got a little bit of sequins on a lot of these, so they're really fun to make. So those are two finishes, fully finishes since the last time. Okay, next I want to show you my oldest, one of my oldest WIPs. Okay, the other one is going to be the older one. But I know some of you have seen this pattern. It's got a copyright of 1989. And I assume I probably bought it around that time. It was a kit, and it's Judith Kirby's Victorians, house number 9. And there was this one, and there was one that had trick-or-treaters. But I liked this one because I liked the cat. I liked just the composition, how the tree still has a few leaves left to fall, but there's a few leaves underneath. And it was an interesting thing to go back to stitch. I think what I had done was the pumpkin and maybe the fence up to the gate, and that's all. But I kept this even when I got rid of probably 90% of my cross-stitching stuff when we moved here to Colorado 12 years ago. I kept this one because I still liked it even after all those years. So this is look how stiff this Aida is. This is the finish. And this was on 14 count Aida, which was what the kit came with. And I like stitching on Aida just fine, but I don't like using 3 strands. And most of the stitches are 3 strands. But she makes liberal use of doing different amounts of strands to have different coverage to do different effects. So for example, some of this, like you can see back here, those green trees, I think that was done in 1 strand to make them look just farther back and a little less prominent. I also thought it was interesting in here, she had you use 2 strands of green and 1 strand of orange to kind of give the effect of a carpet of leaves. So she did that in several places all along here to kind of add depth and texture a little bit. And you don't see that much anymore. She also, up in the trees, there are 2 strands for some of the back stitching, and then when you get to the ends of the branches, 1 strand of back stitching, which of course gives a good effect of, you know, branches thinning out. So it was kind of an interesting thing to work on because I hadn't used any of those techniques for a long time. And I guess I will probably frame it. I also like how this tree root comes out of the frame a little bit. I've always thought it was interesting when designers design like that, where you've got something framed in but something pops out a little. I think that adds a little bit of interest. So it was fun to do. I'm really happy to have it finished, and I still like it as much as when I bought it. So one of my oldest WIPs. My next oldest, definitely my oldest WIP, and I forgot to iron this, so I apologize. This was a Dimensions kit, and it's Nativity, which I love. Last year I did the, what was the name of that designer? Nativity. I borrowed it from some wonderful person who lent it to me. I'd been looking for it forever. It'll come to me. Anyway, I did that in December, and I remember thinking it would be fun to do a nativity scene each December. So maybe this December is the one that I'll finish this one. Okay, I'll see if I can stretch it so it's not quite so wrinkly. I really should have ironed. This is where I am, and at the bottom I put wrought by, in my name, 1988. So I've already dated it, which don't ever do that unless you know you're going to finish in that year. So I think what I'll do is say 1988 ... 2023. But I have the words done. It's got a border. It's got, I've got a lot more to go. But I think it would be a fun stitch to do in November or December. So And I'll just get a lot of satisfaction out of stitching up these last two long-term whips. Then my next whip is from, I think, 2017. So that'll catch me all the way up to 2017. Okay, then the next thing I did for Sampler September was Sarah Barnes from the Scarlet House. And I intended to do this, not necessarily this month, but somebody asked me to convert the silks into NPIs or Averswa, and when I pulled those, I just thought, oh my gosh, these are so beautiful, I have to make this. So I did. So this is that, and you can see it's a little bitty sampler, just with the motifs, no alphabet, but look how beautiful those colors are. And I put my name instead of Sarah Barnes. We share initials and we share the same number of letters in our first and last name, so it was easy to swap that out. And I really love how it turned out. And it was a quick stitch, and it's one of those things that's going to be a fun size on my Sunday sampler wall because, you know, it's longer, so it's a horizontal, and it's also smaller. So I'm looking forward to getting this framed up. And like I said, really fun to work on. I did take a little bit of license, one because I messed up reading a color, and another one because I wanted a different color in there, so I changed a little bit, but not a whole lot on that. All right, another thing that I did was also a whip from last year. I don't know what's up with me. I went through my whips and I pulled out like 12 of them that I wanted to work on this fall, and I have them here. If I have the time, I'll show them to you, but if not, I'll show them to you the next time. But one of them was Turkey Hollow Farm, and I've always loved this one by Stacy Nash because I love the yellow barn. I just think it's really pretty. And look at the border on that. It's just interesting. You know, three sides, the border's the same, then you have the bittersweet going up the one side, and I've always loved decorating with bittersweet. So it just was an interesting piece. So here's my finish on that one, which I was hoping to get it done by Thanksgiving. Not that I'm going to take it down. I probably will leave it up year round, but so I changed the farmer to not holding a gun, he's holding a broom. But I just kind of have fun imagining that dog's going nuts because the rooster got out of the barn and the turkeys aren't happy that the rooster's out and the dog's barking, and there are all kinds of things going on in this. So it was really fun to work on, and I don't remember, I think I had everything done except the border and the pumpkin vines. And in my mind, I was really close to being done. In reality, that border and the pumpkin vines took quite a bit of time, more than I was thinking. Okay, the next thing I finished is a new pattern that I designed, and I'm going to show you that first, and then I have one more finish, but it kind of ties in with this. So I am working on a new series. I'm calling it Words for Home. I've got several patterns designed for the series. So this is the first one that I'm coming out with. And this one is called Words for Home Harvest. And here's the pattern. So it's a pattern for three different pin pillows. The Happy Harvest pillow, the Pumpkin Pile, and the Skinny Mini. So I'll show you those. So here is Happy Harvest. So you've got pumpkins, houses, cat, owl, bird, and the pumpkin makes the A in the word harvest. So here's that one. Again, another fun one to stitch up. And I did this on 36 count straw. See, I forgot to tell you the fabrics on all those other patterns I just showed you. But this is done on Edinburgh 36 count straw by Weeks. And then here's the pumpkin pile. And I like that both of these, all three of these really can stay out all through Thanksgiving. I don't have a lot of Thanksgiving decorations, so I like ones that do double duty for Halloween and Thanksgiving. And this is the Skinny Mini. So all of the words from home, for home will have houses in them because I really love houses. But yeah, I'm excited to show you the other ones that I've come up with too. So that is Words for Home. I will link to that below if you're interested in that. And then, that led into my next project that I did. So these are the colors in the Harvest. And I was going to put them away after I was done stitching, and I thought, I really love those colors together. It's just a pretty combination of blue, yellow, brown, taupe, ecru. So one of the things in my 2-stitch stash is this new one from Market, Autumn Quaker by Primrose Cottage. And I started looking at that and thinking, what if I used these colors for stitching this and made it in color? And I want to talk about colors today. So I've got a lot of examples to show you on switching out colors, warm colors versus cool colors, and then looking at different designer patterns and maybe giving you some clues as to why you're drawn to some designers maybe more than others. And it was fun to go around the shop today and kind of collect those and think through that. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. But I decided to use these colors for this, and then this pillow would match my trio of Harvest pillows in a dough bowl. So this is how I stitched it. So this is how it is one color, which I love the one color. I fully intended to do it as one color until I decided I wanted to continue using those other colors. And so let's talk a little bit about swapping out colors. Why would you do it? What are the advantages of doing it? I always think if there are things that we can learn in the crafts that we love to kind of push us out of our comfort zone or teach us a new skill or have us try something new, it just kind of magnifies the joy you get from your craft. And I know some of you just think, I just want to stitch with it the way it looks because that's what drew me to the whole pattern in the first place. I totally understand that. I also think though, if you maybe if you're getting burned out or you're tired of stitching, if you mix things up a little bit, it kind of adds a little bit of joy back in maybe. I'm not feeling burned out, but it's just a fun way to kind of expand what you do. So when you're looking to change colors, like this is a perfect one. A lot of times it's easiest to start with one color patterns, and I've got some examples to show you. Where did I put them? Yeah, I've got some examples to show you and how it's easier than you think to do. So when you're looking at this, you can see, of course, I was going to do the pumpkins in orange. That makes sense. And then there's a little trio of leaves down here, and I thought, well, I'll do those in all the fall colors. And then you've got the little acorn here, so I was going to do a little brown hat and pop that in there. You've got, the sunflower over here, so that's going to be done with yellow petals and brown. And then what I do, once I change the colors out for the obvious things, then I just start looking at, well, I've got, a little blue here, I'm going to put a little blue here, I'm going to go down here with blue, I'm going to go over here with blue. So then just kind of spread it out evenly. And so I didn't pre-plan, so each time I'd come to a motif, I'd say, well, I haven't done, like when I was going to do this, well, I need to pull the yellow up over here and pop that a little bit. So that's how I decided. I just kind of did it as I went along, and I didn't take anything out. I just went with the flow. It's not something I'm going to be too picky about, but done with those colors, it's going to look really, really pretty with these colors. So that was really fun to work on. And once I decided to do that, I did it like in 2 nights because I was having so much fun with it. So let's talk a little bit about swapping out colors. Here's another one that I did where I added in colors where there weren't any colors. This is a one color pattern from Luminous Fiber Arts. Misty designed this in red. It's beautiful in red. I wanted to try sulky threads. This was like, I don't know, 3 years ago. So I decided just to pull a few sulky threads and work it on a 36 count. And again, this is another one that has really easy to see motifs to figure out what you want to do. So I knew I wanted to do the vines and the leaves in green. I wanted to make the birds blue, the strawberries red. So if you can pick, when you're first starting this out to swap out flosses, if you can pick things that are a little easier on yourself or a little more, you can look at it and you can say, well, yeah, that needs to be green. It kind of helps you move along in confidence as you're stitching on it. So this is another one I did. Here's another one that I changed some colors, and I meant to pull my Hello Halloween book out. This is from Teresa Kogut in her Hello Halloween book, and this is from the sampler on the front. I love the whole sampler, but I want to do every row as either a pillow or a drum. But I just added in some different colors. Like a lot of this is more black in the original pattern, and I wanted to do, like this pumpkin in orange, and I put pumpkins along the fence, and so just little changes, not big changes, but just to maybe add a little bit more color. And then let me get this. I can't wait to show you the antiques I found this week either. So fun. One this week, one last month. Here's another example of how to add a little bit of color. This is a la-di-da pattern, and I had fun stitching it because it reminds me of a vintage rabbit, and the whole pattern was in brown, and I just thought it would be fun to do a couple of colors. Again, I used the sulky, and I love stitching with sulky on 36 count because I love the coverage, but I decided just to make the alphabet a different color and then his bow tie a different color. So simple changes, just adding a little more color, adding a little bit of personal touch. Now remember when I told you about what I don't like about this is I just was not going to do the pin stitch on all of those little dots. And once I had it framed, I didn't like that you could see the thread through that. And I'm so sorry I can't remember your name, but one of you gave me the best tip, and you said don't do the dots, save those to the very end, put a piece of interfacing on the back of your piece, and then go in and do the dots, and you can carry your threads, and the interfacing, or the interfacing, iron-on interfacing will protect the viewer on the outside from seeing all those carrying threads. That was such a brilliant idea. So thank you for the tip, and I'm passing it along to you guys. All right, so then I pulled some patterns that I thought I'd just give you some examples of ways that you could switch out some colors, and then I want to talk about warm and cool colors and some of the different designers who are predominantly warm or predominantly cool, or some who put a pop in there. So let's first look at some one color patterns that you could easily add different colors to. So this is Cats on Parade by Blackbird Designs, and it's such a cute, it's a cute drum. It would also be cute, it is also cute framed, but you could just add like a yellow. So you could do a yellow moon and yellow stars along there. And I get that it's a silhouette, but if you wanted to add a little pop of color, those would be easy ones to do. You could also add in colors on those quilt squares. That would be kind of fun. Here's another Blackbird. The pattern is called Blackbird. This would be an easy one to do. You could do your vines in green. You could do your flowers in whatever color. You could do your vase in a different color, you could do the border in a different color, and then just make the blackbird black and have him pop out on the top of that. So another example of how to do that. Modern Folk Embroidery has a lot of patterns that are one color patterns, and by the way, if you use our search engine on our website, one of the categories under patterns is one color patterns. So you can go and search for just the one color patterns in our shop. And again, you can swap out colors on anything, but if you're just starting, you might try with a one color pattern. So this one would be fun to work on because you could do your snowflakes in a very light blue. You could do the deer in brown. You could do your Christmas tree in green. Again, totally different look. So it's not going to be the monochrome look that looks beautiful, but it's just, I think some of those colors would be gorgeous, and this design would have a whole different look if you started adding in some colors just to experiment. This is another one that would be easy just to do parts and pieces. I'm also big on that. So this would be fun to leave that out and just do the square top. This would be a beautiful drum if you just wanted to do that piece, or that piece with this on the bottom as a drum. So pretty. Here's another modern folk embroidery that I think would be great to work colors into. So you could do your alphabet in a different color, you could do the motifs in a different color. I think typically most Quaker samplers are done in one color or one or two colors, so you're kind of playing with that a little bit in that you're adding more colors in. But don't you think it would be fun to do some of those in different colors? You could do your words, you could definitely do the motifs, and this would be pretty outlined in a different color than the inside. I brought a couple of his patterns that are 2 or 3 color patterns. And what you should do is go on Instagram and, for example, type in hashtag song of the Nightingale or from Modern Folk, because you will see all different kinds of color combinations that people are doing this in. Every year when Jacob does a stitch for the year, stitch along, I'm just blown away by the different color combinations that people come up with. Totally different from this, just as beautiful. But this one has a kind of a tan, golden tan, light blue, dark blue, and it would be beautiful as a light green, dark green, red, like a Christmas kind of a thing. Or you could do like a royal purple and a gold and a, I don't know what, lighter purple or something. But the color combinations are just fun to play with. If you have a local shop, go in and just start playing with their floss wall. I mean, put the flosses back when you're done. But just kind of start pulling things together and combining and see what you come up with. This was his stitch along for this year, and this is cool. And then he also has a second pattern with different medallions for the middle, which I always appreciate. But again, what is this? I think this is just blue and tan. Reaching Skyward. So if you go on Instagram and do hashtag Reaching Skyward, look at all the different color combinations that people have done. I meant to pull this out, but I think it's from 2 years ago, his stitch along that I want to do. And what is the name of that? Somebody was in the shop one day and we started talking about it. And she was going to pull different colors, and that's what first got me looking it up on Instagram with the hashtag and seeing all the different options out there. And I ended up pulling 4 colors of silk, and they're really beautiful, deep colors. And I just thought it'll be so much fun to work through something like this. It wasn't this one, but then decide as I go along, I want this red, I want that blue, I'm going to do that green, that one's going to be gold. And I just think it'll be fun to see it all come together. All right, then I went to some other designers. But first let's talk about warm colors, cool colors. I tend to go towards cool colors. And I know a lot of people go towards the warm colors. I'm going to show you some of the differences. So I went along the floss wall today and pulled examples for you. I don't know how well this will show up on your screen, but the reason I'm doing this is sometimes you've decorated your house maybe in more warm colors, and when you're doing a pattern, you might think, well, I don't know how this is going to look in my house because these colors are a little bit cooler than my paint colors and I wish I could swap them out. And it really isn't that hard to swap them out. Be brave. I know a lot of people don't like swapping out colors, but I just want to show you the difference between warms and cools in some of the basic color tones. So let's take a look at the blues. So these are some cool blues that I pulled out. So for example, I have more, honestly, my house is more warm tones, but I am more a cool toned person. We have like terracotta tile in this house. It's the one thing when we moved in and I said, well, that tile has to go because I don't like that terracotta color. And of course it's still here because, you know, it cost a fortune to remove it. But consequently, my house has warm tones even though I love cool tones. But these are some warm colored blues and these are some cool colored blues. So if I was doing a project that had a lot of, and let's just pretend my house is cool tone like I would like it to be. If I had a pattern with a lot of warm blues, I could easily go along the color wall and swap out some cool blues in there without changing the pattern all of that much. So here's warm blues, here's some cool blues. Can you see the difference? The warm colors have a little bit more of a yellow cast, while the cool colors have more of a blue cast. Now when you're looking at blues, you think, how can a blue have a yellowish cast? But hopefully you can see the difference there. I don't know if I have a piece of paper I can hold up. No, that's not right. Maybe the back of this. Hopefully you can see kind of a difference between the warms and the cools. And again, if you go along the wall and you're comparing colors to colors, you'll kind of see it with your eyes. Oh, this is more yellow toned, this is more blue toned. Let's take a look at greens. So I pulled, let me make sure I get them on the same side so I don't confuse you. I pulled cool greens and I pulled warm greens. So warm greens over here, cool greens over here. Again, if you were swapping out colors and you had a lot of these colors and you didn't particularly like them, you can swap for, not necessarily one-to-one. I don't mean that these exactly would swap, but just to give you an idea of what's warm and what's cool. I'm gonna work on Christmas at Hollyberry Farm by Stacy Nash sometime this fall or Christmas. And it's very warm toned and I want more of the traditional Christmas colors. So I swapped out a lot of those colors. So again, cool greens and warm greens. And I have two more examples. Reds. And I wanted to just stick with Classic Colorworks because I didn't want a whole bunch of different colors from all over. So these probably aren't the best warm toned reds. A lot of the warm toned reds are the more orange reds, whereas the cool reds are more blue reds. But these are definitely warm versus cool. And so if you were swapping out to do Christmas and you wanted warm Christmas colors, you could put those two together. And what you'll find is when you start combining like the warm Christmas reds or the warm Christmas greens, these over here, these actually look nice together. It's a good palette. Now if I had the warm reds and the cool greens, it's a little more jarring. They don't go as well. Or if I did the cool greens, let's see, cool greens, warm reds, okay. If I did the warm greens, cool reds, they don't mix as well. Cool reds, cool greens, beautiful. So you can kind of tell when you're swapping out colors too, how they play together. Do they look good together? Do they look like they go together? Or is it kind of jarring? You got the cool and you got blue cool and the yellow green and doesn't work. The last one I wanted to show you is 3 neutrals. Interesting thing about browns is browns seem warm just by their very nature, but there are some cool browns too. So get these on the right side. Cool. So I picked a white, a tan, and a dark brown that's warm and cool. So this is the warm version and this is the cool version. You see how those whites, you've got a really blue white versus a creamy white. You've got a creamy tan versus a cool tan, and you've got a more of a yellow brown versus a cool brown. I just think this is interesting. Just the difference between warm and cool colors and how that plays into the things that we stitch and how it makes it easy, relatively easy for us to swap things out. So for example, here is a pattern running with needles and scissors, and this is a Christmas pattern. Well, let's say you don't want that kind of color palette, which is a cool color palette, then you could go and warm up your reds and warm up your greens a little bit. Here's another one, and this is a cool palette, and you could make it a warmer palette just by getting a warmer red and a warmer green. Then I went along and pulled some different designers. Now I have a good friend, my friend Claudia, who was just here for a visit from Germany, and she's a yarn dyer, and she tells me that she likes to dye yarns with cool colors with a warm pop, warm colors with a cool pop, just because that difference is, it just really makes people pay attention. And I think that's the reason some people are just drawn to some of her colorways. So I went around and I thought, what designers design with relatively cool or relatively warm colors? So I pulled a bunch to show you. So let's start with Blackbird. Blackbird designs almost exclusively with warm tones in all of their patterns. And I know that's what a lot of us love about it. Their colors go so well together and they're so beautiful. But if you're somebody who likes kind of more vibrant or deeper colors, then maybe Blackbird doesn't appeal to you as much. But they definitely have warm tones in all of their patterns. There are some patterns, some designers who do a good job of doing one palette and then a pop. And Plum Street is one of those. So I wanted to show you. This is cool toned patterns, but then the tomatoes are a warm tone pop. See how that works? This one is warm patterns, warm colors, and then the blue is a cool pop. And you see how that blue just pops out? Same with the tomatoes on the previous one. Sometimes your color that doesn't go with the rest is the pop that draws you into that pattern. Here are cool colors, and then the flowers on the top of the roof are the warm pop. Maybe not something you'd expect, but then you're drawn to it because you think that's different. Here are cool colors with the basket being a warm pop. I love this pattern, by the way. This one from Rosewood Manor is cool colors, and then the red is warm. So you got the pop in the red. This is warm colors overall with a cool pop. So the dark burgundy in there is your cool pop. And your eye really is drawn to the thing that's different. And I think that's just so interesting when you start looking at patterns like that. All right, let's go to Heartstring Samplery. Cool colors, except for the yellow. That's your warm pop. And then here's warm colors in one of theirs, except for the dark red, which is your cool pop. So next time you go through a store or even an online store, kind of go through the patterns and see if you can figure out if it's warm or cool, and if you could figure out how you might want to change it or adjust it. Here is with thy needle and thread, warm colors, and then that blue is a cool pop. Scattered Seed Sampler, warm colors, and the red is a pop, cool pop. And then here are cool colors from Scattered Seed, but the corn and the pumpkin are the warm pop. All right, just a couple more. Well, here is just all warm. So it doesn't have to be one little pop or another. This is an all warm sampler from With Thy Needle and Thread. All warm colors, like not same as Blackbird uses, but like Blackbird chooses to use all warm colors in most of theirs. This one, Rabbit in the Rose, which is a beautiful, just a little dark, so I'm going to take it out of the plastic. But these are all warm, like warm spring tones, except for the blue ribbon, which is a cool color, and that gives it a pop. And your eye is drawn to that ribbon, isn't it? So interesting. And then, let's see. Here are warm colors from With Thy Needle and Thread, but the red is a cool pop. Again, you could easily substitute in like an orange red. It would still be beautiful. It would look all like it goes together. If you're more into that beautiful orange red, easy to substitute. Here's one that has a lot of cool colors, but then the greens are warm. Like the house is cool, but the greens are very warm. And then last I pulled some of the Tiny Towns from Heart and Hand, because I thought this was kind of interesting. These are all warm colors except for one blue house. Now see if you can figure out which blue house is the cool house. And I think if they were all the same tone, the same warmth, maybe it wouldn't be as interesting. But this house is a cool blue house, and that just adds a little bit of extra interest. This one is all cool tones except a couple of the houses that are warm colors. And then I brought these two because it's a Harvest Tiny Town and a Halloween Tiny Town. And even though orange is a warm color, look at the difference between those. This is definitely more warm tone, whereas this is definitely more cool tone because of the bright white and the black. That's what brings the coolness to this one. So there you go. I don't know what you'll do with all the information, but it's just kind of, I think it helps you when you're thinking through, can I make changes? I have had a lot of people in the shop who, we talk about, well, we could just swap out that blue, and they're really nervous about doing that. They don't want to change the balance of the piece. But if you have a piece and you want to swap a warm blue for a different warm blue, now you know. Think in terms of warmth. If you will have a piece but you just want a little more oomph in that piece and you want a little more pop, maybe pick the opposite of the tones that are going on in that piece and have them pop out in your finished product. So, something for you to experiment, a new technique for you to start thinking about if you want to just kind of develop some skills in the color game. It also, of course, applies to fabrics. There are definitely warm tone fabrics and cool fabrics, and that's probably a whole nother topic we'll do on a different floss tube sometime. And it can be very effective to do cool colors on a warm background or warm colors on a cool background. It just kind of plays with your perception of it. So that's kind of cool to go through too. Okay, that's all of that. I have a lot of flosses to put and patterns to put away when I go back into the shop. All right, let me show you my two antique finds. So, and I don't think I showed you this one the last time. I think I had it, but I don't think I showed it to you. But this I thought was a really cool piece, and it's for, what are those called? It's for when you used to do book presses or printing presses and you had individual letters. It's a letter type tray. But I thought it would be really cool with different buttons in it. I'm definitely using this in some of my future pattern photos because I just like I just love everything about it. This is fun. And I saw another one at an antique store displaying the little tin type. It's not tin type. the little individual letters for the letterpress. But the case wasn't for sale. So if you ever find the case, it's kind of cool to have. Okay, and then this is my new favorite thing. And I don't even know what it's called. It's a spool caddy, but look at this. Look how cool that is. Found that last weekend at an antique store. They're all vintage spools. There are 2 plastic spools in this whole batch. The rest are all vintage wooden spools. And bless this person, she loved to organize all of her threads by color. And so I took it into the shop, and you'll notice in my Words for Home photo, I took some of the yellows and the oranges, and I thought, well, that's going to be the signature look for my Words from Home, because I've got all the colors that could possibly match all the threads I've used for all of these patterns. But this also, I don't know if I can do this, but I started propping different pillows up in there to kind of have different levels of display. I'm running out of room in my red cabinet at the shop. Okay, that's not going to match, but you get the idea. It's just kind of fun to prop them up, and I need something else to show more pillows because we've got so many pillows in the shop. But isn't this a cool piece? I couldn't believe it. Actually, Paul discovered it in the booth, pointed it out, and I thought, well, I'm not going to carry it around, so I'm going to walk around and think about it. And the more I walked around, the more I thought, well, of course I have to have that. Why are you leaving it behind? So I went back to the booth, and there were 2 ladies standing right in front of it. And I had to patiently wait until they talked about it, decided if they wanted it, and then moved on. I was so glad when they moved on because I wanted it. So isn't that a fun one? I'm going to have fun playing with that. All right, let's talk about 3 things. So, and one of them has to do with this antique store. So some of my stitching friends and I have this thing for these special pies. It's from the Village Baker, the Village Pie Maker. This is what the box looks like. This is a peach pie, and they make the best pies. They're from Nebraska. And you find them in the frozen, if you're lucky, you find them in the frozen foods section of your grocery store. And you bake them at home, and it's the most wonderful crust you'll ever have. Like, you will never need to bake your own pies again. They have all the different fruit flavors. I noticed they have a pumpkin pie in there. They're so delicious. Well, when we were at this antique store, I noticed they, at an antique store, had a little narrow freezer full of these pies. And my theory is they love these pies so much that they want to take one home every week, and they just decided to carry them and sell them in their little shop. But our Safeway has these pies. So I don't know if you have a Safeway grocery store. Our bigger grocery stores don't have them, so I don't know. I'm not that Safeway's not a big grocery store, but anyway, if you can find the Village Pie Maker, try one of their pies. They are delicious. It's also nice to keep one in the freezer in case you have pop-in company or whatever, because it smells wonderful baking. It does take like 2 hours to bake, an hour and a half to bake, an hour to let it rest, but oh my gosh, so delicious. So that's number one of my 3 things. Number 2 is I got one of these. I think I got it on Amazon. I will link to it below. I got one of these magnifying domes because sometimes I am stitching and I've got my lamp and my magnifier here, and I'm stitching away and I'm looking over here at my pattern, and sometimes there's a little part in the pattern and I can't tell if that's is that a star symbol? Is that a circle symbol? And so then sometimes I take my whole magnifying lamp and whip it over here, and Paul's usually sitting here, so that doesn't go over very well, blinding him in the eyes. So this is really handy because, okay, here's my list of all all of the different fabrics I showed you today, but you can just put this on. Now this list is big anyways. You can just put this on and it magnifies that little section and makes it easy for you to see what that symbol is without having to, you know, put the whole magnifier over there. So I will link to those below. My third thing is a new account on Instagram for you to follow if you're interested, and it is Ben Meir, and the last name is M-E-E-R, and he just does really interesting like life tips and hacks, work hacks, productivity hacks. What he does is he reads a ton of stuff. He pulls ideas from a lot of different people and then links to those people so you know where to go if you want to learn more about it. And it's just common sense stuff, but really some new good ideas. So I will link to his Instagram below, but check him out. He also does a weekly email newsletter that I get. I think it comes out on Sunday nights. So he won't spam you with a lot of stuff if you sign up for the newsletter, but it's just always interesting, good advice stuff. All right, let's talk about planners. So last year when the Book of Days came out, so I had so many of you ask me if I would sell the, what did we call it, souped up edition. So this is my planner from last year, and it has a clear cover on the front and back, and I always put extra cardstock in here so I can add, you know, different things. I like to do special cards I've gotten. I like to do special events. I like to take pictures of the finished projects that I've done. And so last year we sold we took a whole stack to Staples for you and had them spiral bind, add the cardstock, add the covers. And a lot of you have asked if we're going to do that again this year, and we are going to do that, and they're now up and available for pre-order. So we have both the just regular version, nothing else added to it, because you can of course take it to your own Staples or Home Depot, or not Home Depot, Office Depot. Don't take it to Home Depot, Office Depot, and you can have them add the spiral binding and the clear covers and extra pages and everything too, certainly. But if you don't want to have to mess with that, we're going to take a whole stack like we did last year. So we have two options for pre-orders for the Book of Days. Vicki from Needlework Press anticipates them shipping out in mid-October. As soon as we get them, we will start shipping them out. The regulars, the special editions, are going to take an extra 2 weeks because it's going to take them time to do that, but we will ship them out just as soon as we have them ready. So make sure if you'd like to pre-order that you hop on the website. Again, I will link to it in the notes below. When I talk about the notes below my video as you're watching, there's the title of the video, and there's a little thing that you can click that says more, and that expands that section, and all of the things I talk about and say I'm going to link to are down in that section. So I also did last year a handout to include with those of you who pre-ordered our calendars from us, and I've now put that up on our website, and you can actually print that out. So I printed it out today, but it's just ideas for your planners or your calendars, some of the extra things you might want to do. So on our website, there's a header and there's a what's new section over here. And if you click the arrow to drop down, there's a link for ideas for your Book of Days planners and calendars. And this is what it looks like when it prints out. So if that's helpful for you, I just listed some of the different things that I do in my Book of Days. Like I said before, I really love that it is kind of a yearbook of creativity for me, because I keep track of the retreats I've been to, the people I've met, the audiobooks I've listened to during the year while I'm stitching. So all of those ideas are in that handout if you're interested. Okay, pre-orders are up. I will link to those. All right, next thing is we have some new patterns. And some of these came in just today, so these are hot off the press. And these are from Heart and Hand. So let me show you the new Heart and Hands. First one is a reprint. The original copyright on this is 2001, but Cecilia said she's had so many requests to reprint it that she's finally reprinted that, and I think it's so cute. Personally, if I was going to do it, I'd probably leave In Search of the Perfect Pumpkin off and just stitch the row of pumpkins, but if you're in search of a perfect pumpkin, you should do the words too. So this is a cute big pattern. Then in her Doodles series, she has Doodles for Halloween, Doodles for Christmas. Here's Doodles for Thanksgiving. And I always love Thanksgiving patterns because like I said before, I just don't have enough Thanksgiving themed things. And then she has another one in her Imprints series. So this is the Christmas version. She's got a spring version, a patriotic version, a fall version. And I think these are cute as pillows. They'd be cute as ornaments. They would also be fun to stitch up as little hostess gifts when you go to the different events in December. So, and then I just brought all of her Santas because I have all of these in my stash and I want to do all of them. So I went back 6 years. I know she's been doing it longer than that, but these are the 6 I have. So this is the 2023 version. I mean, it'd be cute to do them all in a row, wouldn't it? Just like one long row of these, in addition to maybe just individually framing them. Here's 2022. I don't know how she can come up with a different one every year. 2021. I love the blue on him. 2020, 2019, 2018. A very warm Santa, if you will. Very warm tones in that one. So those are just cute. I don't know how she comes up with those cute ideas, but I think they're just so fun. All right, let's talk about a few more new things in the shop, and then I have a giveaway from last time. I have a kit to give away this time, so that's kind of exciting. We added in Annie, the Proper Stitcher, all of her patterns. I thought these two were cute. Steampunk, Percival and Penelope. Very cool tones in there. You could change that out if you wanted it warmer. Here's her little Autumn Quaker sampler. Not Quaker, just Autumn sampler. But we have all of her patterns, and they're very fun. Teresa Kogut came out with new patterns this last week. And this harvest, look how cute that is. I think I would like to stitch each of those pumpkin ladies just on their own and tuck them into a dough bowl as pillows. Not that the whole thing isn't really cute and that border is beautiful, but, and it also has, let's see if I can show that. Nope. Yeah. This biscornu, so that shows you the top and the bottom of the biscornu, which I am totally making sometime. I've never made one. But I liked that it has acorns and little wheat. I think that's wheat. And then she also has a drum. I'll show you this page. A drum that turned out really cute, and it says friendship on it. So that would be really a nice one to make for a friend. And then she also has Pernice Manor. And Pernice, I think is the Italian word for partridge. If it's not Italian, I'm sorry. I know I looked it up when I wrote the description. So look at that house with that funky partridge bird on the top. Really a cute one. And then I brought this one because my friend Sandy is working on this, and it's so beautiful. This came out at Market, so you've seen it before, but it's just turning out so pretty. I cannot wait to do that one. The border looks fun to stitch. She's going to stitch the grass blue for Kentucky Bluegrass. I think if I make it, I might change it to green, but it's looking so beautiful in person as she works on it. This is another one that was really popular that I haven't shown you guys. Well, I showed you in the newsletters. Make sure you sign up for our newsletters. I send our newsletters out on Wednesdays. Every once in a while, the email program app will drop 200 or 300 people just for no reason whatsoever. So if you used to get our emails and you don't anymore, you might be one of those people that they just decided we're done getting our newsletter. So sign yourself back up. You can do that on our homepage. Look how cute that red bunny sampler is from Pansy Patch. I know a lot of you got that one. It's really cute, all in red. Also would be fun to kind of play with colors and add in some different colors in there. I love it. Stacy Nash has some new patterns out, and she did not do pre-orders. So if you pre-ordered with us and didn't see her stuff, it's because we didn't get the information ahead. But she's got some really interesting ones. This one is a reprint, but if you love Halloween and witches, there are some really cool pin pillows you can make in that. And then she has a velvet carrot needle book. I have not made one of her needle books. If you've made one of them, tell me in the comments below if it was easy. This looks really fun because you've got the chicken, you've got this on the back, and then you stitch the sides. And then the next one, I kitted up for my own self, but I may have just buried it under here. I don't know if I can find it. Oh, it's too bad because it's the cutest one. Well, maybe not. Maybe not in your opinion, but I love this one. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can dig. And if everything goes crashing to the floor, no worries. Okay, here it is. This under everything. This is Farm Market Pin Keep. I love the soft colors in this one. And I kitted it up. Let's see if I can spread out the colors so you can see the colors a little bit. It uses all DMC except one. Collards, you need one skein of collards. Look at those pretty colors. So that is on my fall stitching list for soon. It's on the soon list. So those are the Stacy Nash ones. And let's see. We had two new ones from, I only brought one, two new ones from Jeanette Douglas. This really pretty autumn bouquet. Aren't those colors just gorgeous? Again, something that you could leave out year round if these are your house colors. And a lot of people have these house colors. But also just a pretty neutral, no pumpkins, no witches, no bats, but all the beautiful colors of autumn in there. And then she also came out with Chubby Fox, which goes along with Chubby Bunny and Chubby Bird. So that's out. This one I wanted to highlight because we just have a few left, but I love, and I haven't made one yet. I have the Stitch, I think it's a Stitch trays, but this is running with needles and scissors. And this one is acorns, and it comes with the silk floss. Yep, silk. And then it comes with the tray. So you stitch them up. You just need to buy the little button making kits. They are so easy to make. I mean, you literally put your finished piece on the form, you pop it into the little plastic thing, you put your top on, that's it. So easy to make buttons and fun to make buttons. So we have a few of those left. And then I brought some of the Primrose Cottage, 2 of their new ones, Autumn. This is a cute one. My friend Kim is stitching that one. This is not new, but who doesn't want to do that for Halloween? Because it's cute. And lastly, we've restocked the Corinne Lapierre kits. These are little felted kits. I originally just stocked the things that go with our craft, like pin cushions, because my thought was sometime I'm going to make these little pin cushions as table gifts when I go to a retreat, because how fun would that be? So you get everything in here to make it, but then you keep the directions and you can make more in different colors. But then she also has really cute animals, so I added in a lot of animals. I just brought 3. Look at that kitty with knitter stuff, polar bear, dog. There's a lot of them. These are good for if you do the tiered trays and you have your stitching in there, but you also want to have some other things for the season, you know, popped around. These make fun little things to do. All right, lastly, oh, this is such a mess. Lastly, let's do the drawing. So the drawing for last time, and you had to use the word summer, is for this cute project bag from Deborah at Joyful Stitching Store. I linked to her below. And Carol's 3090 is the winner of this one. This next time I have a Plum Street kit for you. And here's the pattern. And it comes with the fabric and the floss and a needle. And let's use the word fall if you'd like to be entered into this drawing. And I will floss tube again at the end of October, so you still have time to make this in November because there's pilgrims in there. We also have this pattern in the shop, but aren't those pilgrims cute? So, fall if you'd like that. Last time the question of the day was, what are your fall stitching plans? And I so enjoyed reading what you guys are going to be working on for the fall and some of your plans. I'm not going to show you all my fall projects this time. I'll show you the next time, the ones I pulled, because we've gone long enough. But my question, let's see, my question of the day this time is going to be, are you more of a fall color or a cool colors stitcher or a warm colors stitcher? I know a lot of us do both, but do you figure you're more drawn to the cool or the warm? And how would you feel about swapping colors out like that? Is that something you're interested in doing? Something you're going to give a try? I don't know. I've got it in my mind as maybe a camp challenge next year. We'll see. I think it would be fun to see what everybody comes up with. All right, I think that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, a big congratulations and thank you to you. And be sure to leave a comment below. I read all of the comments, and I love talking with you all in the comment section. Subscribe if you're interested. Give a little thumbs up and a like if you would like to. And I will see you back the next time. Bye-bye.